Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The Republican Party, the party of Abraham Lincoln, goes forward united, determined, and ready to welcome millions of Democrats, independents, and anyone who believes in the greatness of America and the righteous heart of the American people. My fellow Americans, tonight, with a heart full of gratitude and boundless optimism, I profoundly accept this nomination for President of the United States.
What'd you think? I finished most of it today. Watched some of it last night. People are like, are you watching this? Are you looking at this, Chad? What do you think of this? And I said, you know what? Jack and I watched a little bit of it, but Fortnite came out yesterday, the 4th season. And let me tell you, right, break this down as we talk politics and we talk all these things. I spent time with him playing that and having fun with that, figuring I would catch a lot of this. And I did. I had it on in the background on my phone, but that to me was more important. That was. How can you say that? Because that's what it is. We put so much pressure anymore on our political leanings and what we believe and how we believe and what it is politically, and it's red versus blue, that we miss the bigger picture. And I think we've really got to take a deep step back and relax. Jack was here with me all day yesterday. He and I went out. We made memories. We had fun. It was awesome. It was so much fun. Went to the golf course, swinging balls all over the place. He had his big Zoom meeting with his class last night. I listened to a lot of stuff while we were doing both. Then we were playing games. We were having fun. And yes, I had it on in the background. And a lot of you were texting me throughout. What do you think of that? You know, some people were like, I'm crying. This is amazing. Other people like, he's a lying SOB. He's a piece of blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, why are you so wrapped up in something like this? You're telling me about your kids. What are your kids doing? Why aren't you hanging out with your kids? Well, this is important. Of course it is important, right? It absolutely is important. But I'm thinking we so hyper-focus on some of this stuff. And how important is it in your day-to-day? If Trump's not president, does your life change? If Joe Biden's president, does your life change? If Trump is president, does your life change? Joe Biden isn't president. Does your life change that much? You know, I hear people say, is your life better 4 years ago compared to what it is today? And I'm like, yeah, my life's pretty damn awesome. It's awesome before that, too. You know? But is it better? My life's always good. I make that to be a choice. I work hard. I bust my butt. I don't care who's president of the United States. We give too much credit and too much blame. I thought it was a good speech last night at times. At other times, I think, you know, it was the usual going after the other side, which you have to do. But his attack dogs did most of that throughout the day. And he addressed COVID, which, you know, not super addressed COVID, but he touched on COVID.
In recent months, our nation and the entire planet has been struck by a new and powerful, invisible enemy. Like those brave Americans before us, we are meeting this challenge. We are delivering life-saving therapies and will produce a vaccine before the end of the year, or maybe even sooner.
Was he humble? No. Did he go after, you know, things that I sit there and I think, did he also have some stuff that I thought was solid? Yeah, I think that. I think he had kind of everything. And he stayed on script, by the way. Even though there was a crowd there, there's 1,500 people there. Normally, he's a squirrel. Ooh, squirrel. Ooh, squirrel. Says something, goes here, there. And trust me, been there the whole 9 yards. Stayed on script. Great big fireworks, explosions, the whole 9 yards. It was a great look. It was. And of course, the people on the other side freak out. Oh my God, he's at the White House, he's doing all these kind of things. We got to, what can we do? How can we tear him down? We got to get this, that, and the other. This was their night. And I want to see what the ratings look like, because the ratings for the RNC has been down big. He did go after Biden.
Joe Biden is not a savior of America's soul. He is the destroyer of America's jobs. And if given the chance, he will be the destroyer of American greatness. For 47 years, Joe Biden took the donations of blue-collar workers, gave them hugs and even kisses.
Little humor. Wouldn't be a Trump without some humor. Did talk about some of his accomplishments. Let me tell you something. You can dislike Trump all you want, but he has done stuff. Bringing our troops home. Absolutely. He got tax cuts in. May not like it. Some of you wanted tax hikes, but he got tax cuts in. The economy was going well. He has been strong with China. The little man, the rocket man, has been very, very quiet. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. You don't hear a lot of rumblings of going there. He stomped down on ISIS, and the thing that I've said across the board when it comes to Donald Trump, his legacy will be none of those things. It's going to be the judicial system.
By the end of my first term, we will have approved more than 300 federal judges, including 2 great new Supreme Court justices.
That right there will be his legacy. Because of how much we are a litigious society, how everything ends up in the court system. Went after the Bernie world, as you tend to do in a situation like this, because people ask me, do I worry about Joe Biden? First of all, I don't worry about any politicians unless they're so extreme as to want to destroy everything that we're about, that want to turn us into a situation where we are so government dependent, which is exactly what so much of this is about. Government dependency. The left wants you to look at government first, the right's whole idea. And these are ideals. When the parties get involved, those ideals fall away because everybody's got their own self-interest involved. So the belief system changes tremendously. My belief system is this, but the party wants this. I've got my own thing, so there's this. And what looks like it should have been pure and this is what it's all about doesn't end up that way. That's why things fall apart. But yeah, did he go after Bernie? Of course, because you're trying to paint the picture of the monster. The monster is we're going to look like Venezuela. We're never going to look like Venezuela. We're never going to look like Venezuela. Now, could we be an extremely high-tax society with a stagnant economy, some inflation, even more borrowing in a non-pandemic world? Remember, we're borrowing from ourselves. We're starting to print money. We're doing stuff. We're borrowing from ourselves. Could we be in a situation where you look up and while we're not Venezuela, we could be in a very stagnant, almost quicksand-like world where there's not a lot of stuff going on. And it's, government tends to be the thing you lean on the absolute most because government makes it that way. That's a possibility.
Joe Biden's campaign has even published a 110-page policy platform. You can't get away from this. Co-authored with far-left Senator Crazy Bernie Sanders. The Biden-Bernie manifesto calls for suspending all removals of illegal aliens, implementing nationwide catch and release, and providing illegal aliens with free taxpayer-funded lawyers. Everybody gets a lawyer. Come on over to our country. Everybody has a lawyer. We have a lawyer for you. That's what we need is more lawyers.
I've read some of it. I'm like, sorry. The immigration side of things is insane. It really is. Some of the stuff that people want. You could say it's not open borders. You can say all of those things, but Trump hit it out of the park when it comes to that. So yes, he did some really good things last night. And he addressed a lot of issues that I wanted him to address. And he was hard, but he wasn't overly hard. He didn't get into the name calling that we see when he goes off script. All in all, I thought it was good. Was it transcendent? No, Trump's not that kind of person. Trump's not the transcendent speaker, an orator that you see in a lot of people that give speeches and you're like, oh my God. He's the transcendent campaigner, though. And that's where his business starts to begin. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program. A lot of stuff to get to. A lot of this, a lot of things going on in Kenosha, what's happening at the NBA, Major League Baseball, the NHL, MLS. So many things we're going to dive into today. My Pillow. Love My Pillow. BOGO. Buy one, get one free going on right now. You buy one, you get one free. So this includes everything from the mattress toppers to the My Pillows, to the Stone Go Anywhere pillows, to the Giza sheets and the towels. And you get a 60-day money-back guarantee. You get a 10-year warranty, and everything's made here in the USA, and that is awesome. On top of that, if you order Mike Lindell's book when you check out, you go to MyPillow.com, promo code is Benson. He's going to ship everything for free, and he's going to give you a $25 gift card towards your next purchase. So it's a buy one, get one free on everything. 60-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty, made in the USA, and he'll ship it for free if you order his book and give you a $25 gift card. Do this by going to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. MyPillow.com. The promo code is Benson. Chad Benson Show.
I, you, he, she, it. Lucy is a girl.
Point of personal privilege, please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shut up, boo. Ain't nobody got time for this.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
Fidel Castro, Julius Caesar, Mobutu Sese Seko. That was not an American president giving an acceptance speech. That was a monarch. It was very much like what Castro used to do, an hour and 10 minutes that clocked in. He said, the fact is I'm here and they're not. He made the White House into the Trump palace. If democracy in America ever falls and we become a complete autocracy with a decrepit leader and his corrupt family moving their trunks into the White House and never leave.
Oh, God, she's awful. Joy Reid. Just the insanity of, and look, both sides do it. This whole thought, well, if he doesn't leave, the military's going to come in. I don't for 1 second think that Trump isn't going to leave if he lost. I do think no matter who wins, it's not going to be done, I don't think, on the first night. I think there's going to be challenges. I think there's going to be lawsuits in several states. I think this thing is going to drag on. I really do. I would love to wake up the day after on that Wednesday and know, okay, we know exactly who won. We're moving on with ourselves. But I do not think for a hot second that he is a dictator. My God, that's the crap that people get sick and tired of. You want to talk about divisiveness? Can Trump be divisive? Here's the thing. I'll call it out. Yeah, Trump can absolutely. Name a politician now who's not divisive. The ones who aren't, you can't name. Why? Because they don't get the bully pulpit. They don't get the press. They don't get the microphone. They don't get any of that. You know what they get? Overlooked. You know what they get? Ignored. You got to be a flamethrower. That's just insane. Castro. It's always that. And I'm just like, oh my God. How do you just sit here and go, to me, how do you sit here and think, I can't take you serious? For all the things about Chris Matthews, and we were talking about this before the show, at least he could call it like it is. He may have been a lefty, and he was an avowed lefty, and he talked about it. And at times, because I think as times change, you have to be a little bit more of a flamethrower now. That's kind of where we're living our lives. But that kind of stuff is it's a bunch of BS. It really is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program. Check out the videos we got. Chad Benson Show TV on the old YouTube. Speaking of the Trump vaccine fact check, because, everything's fact checked, kind of, but not really.
Will we have a vaccine produced by the end of the year?
Well, we have a vaccine produced right now, so the vaccine's being manufactured at risk even before these vaccines win FDA approval. The question is, will it be approved? I think that we're going to have the data on the vaccines probably sometime in October is the most likely scenario. And if they're effective in those trials, if they demonstrate that they're safe and effective, you could have a vaccine available, I believe, under an emergency use authorization for select populations before the end of the year.
So Dr. Gottlieb said, yes, that is a possibility. But what will happen is vaccine will go to specific groups. It'll be probably March, April, May, June before I think we all have the opportunity to get the vaccine. That's if you get one. I was spending time yesterday with a doctor who he's a friend, and we were chatting, and he's like, my family and I will not get it for the first. I'm going to let it take its course and see what happens. And there's a difference between being somebody who's cautious and somebody who's an anti-vaxxer, as they would call them. He's like, I'm cautious, but the minute I think that it's safe, I've got zero problems doing it.
In terms of having a vaccine license for general use, as we think of getting a flu vaccine, for example, where most people can go get it and it's accessible, widely accessible, I think that's really a 2021 event. I think it's probably the first quarter of 2021, maybe the first half of 2021.
There you go. So we'll see. I think we will have one. But it's how long is it going to take? How many people are going to get it at first? But I think we'll get one sooner rather than later. And I think we're getting closer to a few treatments that we know are truly effective in fighting this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. ChadBenson. It's your Twitter, your Instagram, Chad Benson Show TV on YouTube. Did he talk about race? Did he talk about Kenosha? Did he talk about what's going on out there? We will discuss that. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I've seen in Washington it's easy for politicians to survive if they silence their convictions and skip the hard fights. I couldn't believe so many politicians actually prefer to complain about a problem rather than fix it. I was shocked to see people leave major challenges unsolved so they can blame the other side, campaign on the same issue in the next election. But Donald Trump did not come to Washington to win praise from the Beltway elites. Donald Trump came to Washington for one reason, and one reason alone: to make America great again.
I thought she, out of everybody, probably did the best. We were just talking off air. Could she be president one day? It's possible. She's smart enough. She's got, I think she's way better than her brothers. Her brothers are the flamethrowers. She's great in front of a camera, which you need. She looks good, which you need nowadays. You do. This is the last of the old. From now on, politicians will be younger. They'll be fresher. There's a certain thing that people go for. We gravitate towards things like that. She's on the ball. She's well-spoken. She's successful. Can she run for president? I said yesterday, because people asked me, I said, absolutely. I said, but here's what you're going to need. If Trump doesn't win, you're going to need some separation between this Trump presidency and the potential for her running one day. And that is a potential, because you never know. And she may be sitting here watching all of this stuff and saying to yourself, I want no part of this. I want no part of this. It's a possibility. It really is. It is because if I'm getting a firsthand look at this chaos and craziness, would you really want to jump into that viper's nest? I probably wouldn't. You know, she's got young kids too. So I'd probably give that a hard pass. But do I think she could do it? Absolutely.
For the first time in a long time, we have a president who has called out Washington's hypocrisy, and they hate him for it. Dad, people attack you for being unconventional, but I love you for being real, and I respect you for being effective. Our president refuses to surrender his beliefs to score point with the political elite. Washington has not changed Donald Trump. Donald Trump has changed Washington.
Yeah, that's true. For better or worse, it's true. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You can text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Not a ton of talk about what's going on with race relations in this country, and there needs to be. There does. There needs to be conversations about what's happening. People are pissed. People are angry. My question is this. What is it you want? Because be specific, not general. So if you said today, I want money, right? And I handed you $1. You weren't specific. You said, I just want some money. So I gave you $1. That's it. I don't. So what is it that people want? When we talk about race in this country, we're not specific. We don't have any concrete plans. It's all platitudes and hey, here's a slogan. Here's this great thing. This will look good on Instagram. People will really like me. This will be awesome. But we don't drill down to what it is that we're talking about. What is it that you want? So if you're part of the Black Lives Matter, what is it you want? Well, we want equality. Okay, well, what does that look like in your world? Remember, we're human beings. And if you want true equality, you need to eliminate everybody. Because some people are better. Some people are lucky. Some people, well, some people make poor choices. So we can't legislate equality of outcome. Right? So what exactly do you want? Be specific. Too many people aren't. When we talk about things like this, they're not. You ask everybody who's at a Black Lives Matter rally, or any rally for that matter, they'll, whatever the slogan is, plus a few other things that they probably read on the internet, they'll throw at you. But if you nail down what it is exactly what they want and what that looks like, they're not going to do it. Because they don't know. They just want this. We need to talk about it in this country, and we don't. We don't. Last night, I watched the Mets. So the Mets and the Marlins are playing, and that's just awful anyways. So they come out. Today's the day they would normally celebrate Jackie Robinson. So they had 42 seconds of silence in an empty stadium. And then after 42 seconds, the players, they weren't going to play, obviously, so they head down. And then one person comes out, and he lays a Black Lives Matter shirt on home plate. And I'm just like, oh, God. Well, Chad, they have every right. Absolutely. And I have every right to just go, I'm kind of over it. What did I say when all of this stuff started coming back? At some times during all of this, if the sports world becomes nothing but a social justice meeting with some athletics, people are going to get bored with it, even people that may support it. There's several people around here that absolutely support BLM. Super, super, super progressives that work here. And they're like, I need some escape. And I thought this isn't what I was hoping for. I get it. I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people feel that way. But when you look at this, and I talk to athletes all the time, there's a ton of athletes. There used to be so many athletes coming through here because we have a huge sports station here in Phoenix, and we're the station for everybody. The Cardinals, the Diamondbacks, the Suns, the WNBA team. I think it's the Mercuries. I'm not sure. We were same thing for the Coyotes. I mean, we are it. They're in here all the time. But if I asked every one of them, what is it you want? What does it look like? They're all going to give me different answers. Doesn't work that way. Be specific. Yeah, you're different people, but how specific? You have one message. What's your message? What's that one united message? I don't think people can do that. I don't. Besides the fact that we don't talk about race in this country out of fear. Fear you're going to be exposed as a racist? No. Just we don't talk about it because we never get anywhere. Because there's so much more in the fighting than the solution. I wish Trump would have talked more about it last night. Not just talk about this is the world that, if Joe Biden becomes president, the world's going to come to hell in a handbasket and everything's going to look like what it looks like in, he goes on and on about, what's going on in Wisconsin and on about all of these craziness, these attack dogs out there. And let me tell you something. This is going to hurt the Democrats if there's continual rioting, looting, arson, and unrest. And they continue to ignore it.
These continuous riots in Democratic cities gives you a good view of the future under Biden. All 5 of the top cities for homicides, top cities for rioting and looting are governed by progressive Democrats using the progressive Democrat approach to crime, which is to do nothing, to release prisoners, as many and as soon as possible, and to go to war with the police. It is clear that a vote for Biden and the Democrats creates the risk that you will bring this lawlessness to your city, to your town, to your suburb.
Little fear-mongering there. Is that possible? Anything's possible. The reality is who's going to allow that? If you're living in a progressive city, you're totally fine with it. If you're living in a conservative city, conservative state, that's just not going to happen in your state. Your state will stomp it down. But it's just that kind of stuff. That's what they painted last night. Democrats need to address this. Absolutely. Not with the usual baloney that they do, because they say a lot and they do very little. The Republicans say very little and they do just as much as Democrats do. But when it comes to race, we'll talk about it. I do. Around here, I've got friends on the right. They're like, I won't talk about it. I won't touch it. I'm like, well, that's part of the problem. You're afraid to lose your job. Everybody's afraid that they're going to be canceled for something, for having a belief in something that is different. That you see something different. But don't we all want the same thing? I want my kid to grow up and be happy. I want my kids to be happy. I want them to be educated. I want them to have opportunities. Well, they will because they're white. It's always the excuse. They will because they're white. I go back to what David Goggins said. A black man who grew up poor in Indiana, virtually just struggled at everything, almost illiterate, taught himself all these things. He says, life is not fair, but it's fair enough. We'd love to make it a little bit fairer, but we cannot legislate the outcome. We need to make sure that people have the opportunity. But what does that look like? If you're not specific, you'll get general. And that's never happy. I mean, are you happy with General? Like I said, if you asked, you want more money, and I hand you $1, you got more money. But that's probably not what you were thinking. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. HelloFresh, dined delicious. A little pasta last night. It was absolutely fantastic. Didn't take any time. It was great. So I got home. Jack and I, was listening to some of this, getting some dinner ready, doing the recipes, simple and easy with HelloFresh, and, doing some stuff with the lizards, making sure they get their HelloFresh. Oh, they got turkey last night. They really like turkey. And boom, within like 17 minutes, we were ready to roll. We ate, watched a little bit of this. He was playing a little bit of Fortnite. We were enjoying ourselves. HelloFresh makes everything so easy, so inexpensive, 40% cheaper than if you shopped at a grocery store. Plus, there's no leftovers because it's the right amount of food. And I had to get extra, so I had to ask him because Jack's here. I want extra. They have low-calorie, vegetarian, you name it. They've got it, family-friendly. And it's amazing. It truly is amazing. 22 chef-curated recipes each and every week. They're very flexible in how you order. It's contact-free, straight to you. Go to HelloFresh.com. Promo code is Benson. When you use that, you're going to get $80 off your first box and free shipping. It's America's #1 meal kit. You're going to love it. It's incredible. HelloFresh.com. Use Benson's promo code. Save $80 off and get free shipping on your first box. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Excellent to each other. Party on, dude.
Look, there's a lot going on in the world right now, so 77 minutes of Bill and Ted might be just what the doctor ordered. Star Keanu Reeves tells me.
Bill and Ted Face the Music is really about, family and community and that we're all in this together.
Reeves and Alex Winter are back as the tubular time-traveling duo, almost 30 years since the last film.
We're hoping to bring some joy to people.
Bill and Ted Face the Music is out today in theaters and streaming.
Let's laugh, let's love, let's, be excellent and party on.
Yeah. I'm pumped. It's not playing in the theater near me. Tomorrow, though, I am going to the movies. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But it is it's exciting. We're going to watch it tonight because I want to. My kids are curious. So the kids have all been watching the last, they've watched the first two Bill and Ted. They're quite, because they know who Keanu is. Who's this other guy? They're not quite sure. Right? They're young. They look and they're like, I have no idea. So we're going to watch it tonight, though. So they've watched the other ones and they think it's kind of funny. And, it's awesome. I mean, this was great. I don't have to worry about anything. We're going to sit down and watch this and just veg. We've had 2 weeks of political parties bashing each other. 2 weeks of our top political parties telling the American people that if you vote for the other side, you're essentially done. The world's going to fall apart. The world's going to crumble. The wolves will be at the door. You're never going to be able to keep them away. Yeah, sign me up. Sign me up for 77 minutes of mindless fun. I'll take it every day. And yes, I am going to the movies tomorrow. I have not been to a restaurant. Here in Arizona, we have met a bunch of our goals that they set out. We have all these parameters and things, and they've got these weird matrix, you got to get to this before schools can open and all these things. Outside of, this is what's funny. My county where I live hasn't really met the goals, but one of the reasons is I'm very rural. We've got a couple prisons out there. So the people who have tested positive, 95% of them have been inside the prisons. So I'm really not worried about that. But we also have Sheriff Mark Lamb, who was on the police show, Live PD. He's very much a constitutionalist. We didn't follow a ton of the rules anyways. He never enforced that. He's like, look, I'm not going to tell one business that they can open. Walmart and the people across the street, they're not allowed to open. That's ridiculous. So I'm not worried about that. So we're going to have our movie theater open tomorrow, and I'm going to go see the New Mutants. I'm taking Jack. We're going to go have fun and watch New Mutants. We're going to get popcorn. And I normally see last year I saw like 32 movies in the theater. I've seen one this year. One. And I'm like, oh, God, they better start releasing some stuff fast. I need to get out. And usually the movies I go see, I don't really have to worry about whether or not there's going to be a ton of people inside of the theater because, like, who's going to see this? Like, next week, there's a movie called Fear Farm. It's like one of those horror movies where people go into a maze and it's real and people, it's looks right up my alley. I guarantee you, opening night, I'm probably going to be the only one there. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Check out Chad Benson Show TV. That's the old YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The Republican Party, the party of Abraham Lincoln, goes forward united, determined, and ready to welcome millions of Democrats, independents, and anyone who believes in the greatness of America and the righteous heart of the American people. My fellow Americans, tonight, with a heart full of gratitude and boundless optimism, I profoundly accept this nomination for President of the United States.
Ooh, and like that, he was off and running. Good speech at times. I thought it was a really good speech. Other times, the blame game. One thing he said last night, which is, to me, the entire debate that we have with Trump. He's a liar, he's a con man, he's a criminal. We hear all that stuff, the battle that goes on. I've heard it from every president because we're a divided nation. You hear it all the time. You know, people still bemoan Bush and they bemoan Obama. That's what we do. We go out and, you know, same thing with Clinton and all of the But he said something here. There's the thing I've been saying, what this is really all about. This is really all about simply the person. Well, he's evil and bad. You're just like, you hate him. And when he talks about stuff, and I've been saying this forever, not a defense of Trump, it's just exactly who this guy is and what he's all about. And that's never been more evident than the way that he's handled the coronavirus.
Biden's record is a shameful roll call of the most catastrophic betrayals and blunders in our lifetime. He has spent his entire career on the wrong side of history. Biden voted for the NAFTA disaster. He supported China's entry into the World Trade Organization. After those Biden calamities, the United States lost 1 in 4 manufacturing jobs, laid off workers in Michigan, Ohio, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, and many other states. They didn't want to hear Biden's hollow words of empathy. They wanted their jobs back.
Right there. The end of it, he hits it. They wanted their jobs back. They didn't want empathy. When people talk about it's the soul of the nation, it's going to get the soul of the nation. They get overly fixated on stuff, and it's character, and it's that and the other. Of course, man, who doesn't want the upstanding, this person's character is beyond reproach, he or she is the greatest of all, they are all things that are a million, everything you could give. Talk about it all. How amazing would that be? But we're human beings. People say, and it's funny because my on-air partner from my other show, Gatos, he likes Biden because he would have done a better job. I'm like, well, tell me what he would have done better. Well, he would have cared more. Caring more doesn't make things better. What would he have done specifically that was going to be better? Could he, and it's easy to say hindsight here. Remember, you've got the Monday morning quarterback, right? What's Monday morning quarterback? For those of you guys who don't know, sitting there and seeing all this stuff, and then Monday morning you're going and you're talking to your friends and you're saying to yourself, you know what I would have done? I wouldn't have done that pass there because it got intercepted. That's easy to do. He just would have shown more empathy. Trump doesn't show any empathy. He's just not who he is, right? He's not that way. He's not built that way. He wasn't built that way. He wasn't raised that way. He was raised in a cutthroat world. Just not the scraping of the knees, where some people come over and it's a boo-boo and they're doing this and the other. Trump's never been that cat. Trump's the get up and shut up. You ask yourself, is it jobs? Or is it empathy? Because I think a lot of people say, I wish Biden could handle this. And then I wish Trump could handle a lot of this. Well, that's not the choice we have here. The choice we have here is simple. Choose one or the other. And I think a lot of people, their hesitation in choosing Biden is, this thing is going to go away. And there is a lot of stuff in there that he wants to do with taxes, for corporations, for things that could really slow the economy down. And I can get behind, Trump. Again, the handling of the economy is that's his gig. He's a liar. He's a criminal. It's just, you sit here, the real question that people are asking, and I think Andrew Yang asked earlier, is, who's the candidate that can unite the country? And Andrew Yang's like, there's nobody who can unite the country, because there isn't. We live in a different world. Jim Gaffigan, who I love, who has been nothing but apolitical. He didn't talk about stuff like this. He talks about his life. He went off on the speech last night, and the Trumpers came after him and attacked him, and he dropped the F-bomb on them. You got to ask yourself, we're at that point where I don't think anybody unites the country. Now, could potentially you bore people into not caring about some of the stuff that's going on? That's what I've always said with Biden. Biden's uniting, if there would be any, is the fact that there wouldn't be chaos and craziness, and people would stop watching the reality show. And because they stopped watching the reality show, and if Trump had nothing to do with politics and just played golf every day, then it's not that we would be united. It's just we wouldn't talk about the things that divide us. Is it empathy? That's why I say, and I've been saying, the choice here with Trump, it's attitude. And do you hate his attitude? And it's actions. Can you look at his actions and say, well, I like what you did there. I like what you did there. I like what you did there. Not every president's going to hit out of the park on everything. But he was absolutely spot on in that. Do you want your jobs or do you want empathy? It's the reason they always talk about nice guys finish last. Not in everything, but you get it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Last night, you know what's funny? Last night, the speech I wanted to see the most, I thought he did a hell of a job, was Dana White. And Dana, much like Jim Gaffigan, didn't really give a rat's ass what you thought of him, because he just doesn't care.
In early April, President Trump organized a task force of business leaders across the country, and I was fortunate enough to serve on that task force. President Trump recognized that one of the small ways to instill a sense of normalcy in people's lives was to bring back entertainment options. Figure out a way to overcome the challenges of staging live professional sporting events in the middle of a pandemic. We did it. The UFC was the first to do it. We are continuing to do it. Now, other sports have joined us.
Yeah, they have. And he was just very spot on about, because much like what you see with Trump, you see that Dana and him are a lot of the same. No BS, no excuses, none of those things. He's just, this is who this guy is, and he gets stuff done.
We still have a long way to go, and that is why we need a leader with President Trump's unique attributes at this critical time. He is one of the most loyal human beings I have ever met. The man has unstoppable energy. No one, and I mean no one, is going to outwork this guy. President Trump's mindset is to work tirelessly, to find solutions to problems, and help restore America. He did it once, and I'm telling you right now, he will do it again. Trump may be the only president in modern times who has actually done everything he said he would do during his campaign.
He's done a lot. No, he hasn't. He has. Go look. He's done a lot of stuff. They're not going to hit everything out the park, right? Because you are one. You're not a dictator. You're not an emperor. You are 1/3 of the co-equal branches. Judicial, right? Legislative, executive. You're 1/3 of those. But he has done a ton. And people hate that. Yeah, he's been hard on China. No, he hasn't. He has. And it's been hard on us. I'd like him to be harder. I do not believe for a second that Joe Biden's going to be hard on China. He's been hard on Russia. You want him to be hard on Putin. Look at the Middle East. Pulling back our soldiers. It's pretty quiet in the Middle East. Saber Rattler isn't saber rattling. Being a little bit quiet. And the judicial side of things, the economy was great. Has he handled the pandemic the way I'd like him to? No, but we can all Monday morning quarterback because that's what we do.
And what that means to me is, as Americans, we work hard to overcome adversity, irrespective of your gender, race, religion, or sexual orientation. What unites us as a nation is freedom, equality, and opportunity. That's what it means to be an American. Let's re-elect President Trump. Let's figure out what the problems are and continue to find solutions to those problems.
We'll find out. It's going to be very interesting to see how he plays this thing out. And does Trump get a bounce from here? And can he take the bounce, if he gets one, and do what he likes to do, which is to rally, to get momentum? Can he take it and run with it? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Car Shield is amazing. Average age of a car right now, I think, is about 11 and a half years on the road. So what does that mean? So that means people are keeping their cars longer. And when you keep your car a long time, guess what ends up happening? Your warranty runs out. Maybe you bought your car used. You didn't have one. Starting to get a little worried about it. You're not quite ready to make a purchase of a new vehicle. So what do? You get Car Shield. With Car Shield, you get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. They get them paid directly. It's absolutely fantastic. They're going to treat you great, but be specific. We talk about specific. Call them up. Tell them exactly what it is that you're looking for. Say, hey, I'm worried about my transmission. I'm worried about the air conditioning, the electric in the car. They've got plans that start as low as $99 a month, and they'll take care of you. Find out for yourself. 800-CAR-6000, code Benson. 800-CAR-6000, code Benson. Saves you 10% right there. Go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
Where do we start today? Let's start in Google. New Mutants, trending. March on Washington, trending. Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister, is going to resign due to health concerns, trending. Rand Paul was attacked by angry mob last night. When is a mob not angry? Brian Urlacher is trending because he is insensitive. Because he posted something that was insensitive. If you didn't hear the post or didn't read the post, he posted something. He says, Brett Favre played on Monday Night Football the day his dad died, threw 4 TDs in the first half, and was a legend for playing in the face of adversity. NBA players boycotted the playoffs because a dude reaching for a knife wanted on a felony sexual assault warrant was shot by the police. A little more complicated than that? But that's where we are. But it's a bit more complicated. Head on over to Twitter, and what do you get? Usually just hate. It's a lot of fun, though. Bill and Ted are trending tonight, or today the movie opens. Tropical depression Laura. She's depressed? Yeah, that's why she's making a mess. Oh, my God. That is heading through the middle of the South, dropping a ton of rain, but is no longer a hurricane. Jim Gaffigan, we touched on earlier, trending. And, of course, the Hatch Act is trending. Because that, of course it is. Because of course it is. I was talking to Alex Stone yesterday from ABC News. We were talking about the Hatch Act. And he went, it just doesn't go anywhere. It's another way to do something about something about something. And just, does it really, people are still trying to figure out, are we going to get another stimulus? Are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? My business isn't open. I can only open 10% of it. And we're like, okay, the Hatch Act. Let's see here. It is what it is. Let's get over it. Let's just move on, please. What if that was Biden? Be totally fine with it right now. If there wasn't a pandemic, it wouldn't have been done this way. Okay? So let's all move on with our lives. The Hatch Act is essentially, just break it down simple. President and the vice president can campaign, do political stuff. Anybody else can't do political stuff. Meaning they can't campaign, do all the stuff that you would think of when you're running for office. Because there are people inside the administration cabinet. You're appointed, so you work for the government of the United States. Came around in 1939. Being on the White House, the fireworks, Pompeo, the list goes on and on. It wouldn't be this way if we weren't in a pandemic. And the crazy thing is, people tell Trump, don't go here, don't go do this, don't go do that. Stayed there. Get over it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us and text the program. Somebody just tweeted at me with a picture of all the people gathering together. And he says, I didn't watch it. And you're avoiding this question. Are you okay with this? And all the people gathering together. I'm like, okay with people gathering together outside? Yeah, I got no problem with it. You're an adult. If that's what you want to do, yeah. I'm not going to be one of those people. If you want to gather outside and you don't want to wear a mask and you're an adult and you've been tested, I'm going to give you guys a little pass on that one. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
And yet, despite all of our greatness as a nation, everything we have achieved is now in danger. This is the most important election in the history of our country. At no time before have voters faced a clearer choice between two parties, two visions, two philosophies, or two agendas. This election will decide whether we save the American dream or whether we allow a socialist agenda to demolish our cherished destiny.
Donald Trump last night. I'm sorry, some of that stuff I have to laugh at. Giving his acceptance speech. Once again, he accepted the nomination gracefully from the Republicans to run for a second term to be president of the United States of America. Joining us now is the person that has done yeoman's work over the last 2 weeks. He sat through all of this stuff so you didn't have to. And in many cases, because Jack's here, I also didn't have to. Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. And Jim, what'd you think of said speech last night and the pomp and the circumstance? How did Trump do?
Okay, first of all, best fireworks show ever. Fireworks show was outstanding.
Let's get that out. Let's get that out of the way. You can hate Trump all you want, but if you're a fan of fireworks, that's a win.
Yeah, that was a first-class fireworks show. I'm hoping they weren't Chinese fireworks, but hey, whatever. One of the clip you just played, I did actually have to chuckle and actually send this out to a friend of mine that I'm pretty sure the election of 1860 might have been more important in the future of our country than this one. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but I'm thinking 1860 might have been more historically significant than this one is. But so much, it's Donald Trump. Donald Trump likes to be, Donald Trump. He mentioned Biden 41 times in his speech, whereas Biden did not mention Donald Trump at all during the speech. I thought it was a good speech. Again, ran a little long, could have wrapped it up in a lot shorter time frame. I think he talked over twice as long as Biden did in his acceptance speech. Kind of felt, again, the last 5 or 10 minutes were kind of like, okay, is this going to end somewhere? He started kind of going all over the place, talking like, from Normandy to Cuyahoga to the shores of Gitchigumi. I don't know where he was. He just kind of went all over the place at the end. He did cover some of the things he wants to do going forward, though a lot of the speech was just a rehash of what we've heard. Biden bad, Biden's done this, Biden's been in Washington 47 years and done nothing, which are facts. But, it was kind of like, okay, we've heard the story already. We know why Biden's not good. We know why the Democrats aren't good. Tell us why you should get reelected, not just Democrats bad. But he did some of that, cutting taxes, 10 million new jobs in the first 10 months, which will be auspicious for sure. Bring back jobs from China, bring back manufacturing from China. Manufacturing is going to be tough. Simply because the cost basis, bringing that back from anywhere is going to be difficult. But overall, decent speech. He got the job done, I think, for the most part. I would give him probably a B+ on it.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research, as we talk about the RNCs. They wrapped everything up. I thought his speech was pretty decent. There was still some name calling that I really wasn't a fan of, and his attack dogs earlier did a majority of that. He stayed on script, which was pretty long, but he said something, Jim, and I want you to listen to it. And to me, this sums up so much of what we talk about when we talk about Donald Trump and the difference in so many ways about Donald Trump.
Biden's record is a shameful roll call of the most catastrophic betrayals and blunders in our lifetime. He has spent his entire career on the wrong side of history. Biden voted for the NAFTA disaster. He supported China's entry into the World Trade Organization. After those Biden calamities, the United States lost 1 in 4 manufacturing jobs, laid off workers in Michigan, Ohio, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, and many other states. They didn't want to hear Biden's hollow words of empathy. They wanted their jobs back.
That right there kind of sums up who Trump is. And I think especially during this pandemic is character, attitude, who he is. Biden definitely is more empathetic. Trump's never been that guy. And that's really a lot of what this is about. People don't like Trump. A lot of people I know that don't like Trump, don't have a lot of real hatred towards some of the stuff that he's done. It's just him in general. And he hit it the nail square on the head when he said, do you want empathy or do you want your jobs back? But does that resonate with those independent voters out there who are still on the fence? And the chaos, Jim, not a fan of, but jobs.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see if that does. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to get reported by a lot of the media other than maybe like Fox News. So it's going to see how far is that going to go? How far is that going to resonate out through the public? I think it would do him a lot of good if it did. But yeah, I think if you wrote down, okay, this is what Donald Trump's accomplished, and say, okay, this is what this president accomplished, this is what the other president accomplished. Which do you think is a better president? Which one do you think, which one do you like better? And I don't think Trump's going to necessarily lose a lot of those. If you take the name off the top of it and just don't tell them it was Donald Trump's accomplishments. They go, oh, well, criminal justice reform. Well, it can't be Republican. Got us out of wars. Well, that can't be a Republican. Then you told them who it was. They go, oh, I think they'd be kind of surprised and say you're making it up or it's propaganda or something. But yeah, I mean, they spent the entire convention trying to make Trump more of an empathetic figure. I think that's hard to do. I don't think he's a horrible man. I've never, before he became president, I did not ever hear stories about him being this horrible tyrant of a person. They always seemed, he seemed to be, well liked in his businesses, tough, but well liked in usually in his businesses. And he did have a record of promoting women, especially because he let his daughter run a lot of the stuff, and I'm sure she did a lot of the promotion of women too. So I don't think there is, what the caricature of Trump has become. Because it is like you can't attack a lot of his policies. You got to attack the man. Trump bad, scary orange man bad is kind of what's been this rolling 4-year narrative. And it's going to be the question of, does the convention remake him, and does he reach, and does that play well with middle America, who, yeah, they do want to keep their jobs. They're scared right now. 12% of all small businesses have disappeared in America. A lot of people don't know if they're going to have their jobs tomorrow because of the COVID and shutdowns and fewer businesses and fewer opportunities out there. So yeah, that's really what you're getting, what you really need to drive to get the middle class voters into your camp.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. One of the things I wish he would have spoken on race. I wish he would have talked about it. Just having people up there who are people of color who work within, the Trump world of the administration or in the past, or people who support him. To me, I would like to have seen a little bit more of that, because let's be real, we've got issues, and the portions that we saw about that when they touched on it was, if you hire Biden, because that's what it is. You're hiring somebody. You hire Biden, your world looks like what it looks like in Kenosha. It looks like Seattle. It looks like Portland. That's the way they go about doing it. And I wish they would have addressed that a little bit more.
Yeah, no, it certainly would have hurt him, because he is constantly being labeled as the most racist president ever. I'm going to guess there might have been more racist presidents in the White House than Donald Trump. I mean, he did pass crime reform. He does have a lot of African Americans that have testified for him at the speech. I'm sure, of course, there were many for Joe Biden also. But for a guy that's the most racist, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. If you're a business person, you really, to a sense, especially as large an organization as Trump is, you can't be racist, because you need the best people, and you want to basically sell to the African American community too. If you get labeled a racist, that's going to hurt you. So I don't see how that really is going to be something that's going to be that accurate, but that is what has been put out there. So yeah, I think it wouldn't have hurt him to address some of the issues on a very tender way. But it is an area where he does have some issues, obviously, and certainly the way the media's made him out, he has a lot of issues. But he is more, I think he's going to win more votes on the law and order than he is converting African Americans to his side.
Which is very real, because Don Lemon talked about it yesterday. Right now, the Democrats have a blind spot. They are ignoring the things that are going on in these cities. And these cities, whether, you want to try to spin it any other way, they're run by Democrats. They have progressive ideals, and they're in a lot of trouble because it's nonstop chaos and craziness. And there is a blind spot there. Can he reach that? Let's just throw out what it is. That white suburban soccer mom who's educated, who's got a career of her own, is more, who's living the good life, but is, kind of went through college and is a little bit liberal, a little bit pro-choice, but they're looking around, man. Does it reach them when they say, I'm kind of feeling uncomfortable because this stuff's starting to get potentially to the suburbs? Does that resonate at all? Or is it just he's evil?
No, it does resonate, and hopefully this convention has changed the opinion of him with a lot of this. Because it is a key demographic for him that he is losing. That is traditionally a very solid Republican vote, and they are, he needs to win them over if he's going to win the election. So he absolutely needs to have influence there with them. Whether this is going to or not, yeah. The reason the Democrats are concerned, like Don Lemon, is because they are seeing the poll numbers, and this is not polling well. These are not peaceful protesters. Okay, regardless of what you want to call it, wherever you want to label it, these are not peaceful protests. They are burning stuff down all over the place. They're also burning a lot of middle-class Americans out of their jobs by burning down those businesses, and that is not going to win hearts and minds at all. And many of these people are African Americans who have lost their businesses. I remember some lady back in Minneapolis when the riot first started after George Floyd. It was unconsolable after they burned down her business. And she'd worked so hard to try to, as an African American, to start a business, and all they did was burn it down without concern for what race they were. It was just, we have to burn it down. And it's like, this makes no sense. This is not going to play well with middle America. And for that alone, yeah, the Democrats have to get a handle on this and call it what it is. It's violence, it's looting, it's rioting. It's not peaceful protesting. And until they do, they're not going to, they're going to keep losing voters on this, I think.
Absolutely. Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. Last question, Jim. And again, we appreciate the yeoman's work of paying attention to all of this stuff. So not everybody has to be engulfed and enveloped in this thing. Does Trump get a bounce? Because Biden really didn't get a big bounce. Does Trump get a bounce? And can the momentum propel him forward to start to reset this thing for the next 65 days before we get to election night?
Yes, I would definitely think he gets a bounce out of this. Biden, I think the Democrats are going to be forced into a position now by looking at Trump, saying, this guy is supposedly going to be older, not older than Biden, but older as a gentleman. But you can't play off that he's got physical problems or anything, because the guy runs 16 hours a day doing this. He's going to be out all over the place once we get a week or so down the road. Now, Biden is starting to get this mentality, starting to get this thing where he's just sitting in the bunker, sitting in the basement. He's going to have to start getting out there. I heard they're even beginning to think about in 2 weeks how to get Biden out on the road with Kamala Harris, because this is not going well for them. I think he will get a bounce. The question is going to be, isn't so much as can Trump keep the momentum and turn some of the numbers his way, is what's going to happen between now and 65 days. This has been such a strange year. I mean, one for the record books, of course. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 65 days. It may completely change the face of this election. For all that we know, we're going to have an alien invasion between now and then, because it has just been such a crazy year. Don't rule it out. So there's so many things that could happen. The stuff that we're talking about today could be just, could be a footnote in history come 60 days from now. Or it could continue with, unfortunately, could have another African-American unarmed person shot by the police, and this will just get ramped up to 14 from 10, and this will be the only topic anybody wants to talk about. Jobs aren't going to be important. Nothing else but racial inequality will be important. So it's all going to be upon what happens out there. If there's a black swan event, some other strange thing comes along. But as of right now, if we do go down the continued path as we're on, yeah, they're going to have to basically get Trump out there all over the place and see how well that plays. And can they make him, basically winnable for a second term?
It's going to be interesting. Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. My man, thank you all so much for doing all you did. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Have a good one.
At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It is the #1 meal kit in America. It is called HelloFresh. It is delicious. It is tasty. And get ready for this. So inexpensive. Delivered straight to you, contact-free, 22 chef-curated recipes every week. You choose the kind of meal kits that you want. You want low-calorie? Do you want family-friendly? Do you want vegan or vegetarian? They've got it all for you. You can add extra days, meaning, let's say this week I've got Jack here for the next couple of weeks, so we're adding food because he just goes through food so fast. Maybe you're going to be gone for a week. You can take food away by saying, you know what, why don't we pause this? It's so amazing, and you're saving a ton of money, 40% versus shopping at the grocery store. And it's so easy. About 20 minutes is all it takes to go from deciding what you want to starting to eat delicious. Get your HelloFresh now by going to HelloFresh.com. Use the promo code Benson. You save $80 off your first box and get free shipping. Promo code is Benson. HelloFresh.com. HelloFresh.com. $80 off your first box and free shipping. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
His relationships with Chris Paul, with Russell Westbrook, they really pay dividends in that process and help get the league through what could have been a more tumultuous 48, 72 hours. But he played a significant role.
Adrian Wojnarowski there talking about Michael Jordan, who apparently played a large role in whether or not the NBA was going to continue or to cancel the entire season because of what took place first with George Floyd. And even though we were in the midst of all the pandemic, then you had what took place the other day with Jacob Blake, and teams were boycotting. Said they, potentially weren't going to play out the season. Jordan, he played a huge part in it.
Michael Jordan did play a role with the owners, really as a liaison between the owners and the players, and getting the league through this week and reminding the owners and the call that they had on Thursday morning that was running simultaneously with the players' meeting about making sure that the owners are in a place where they're listening right now to players.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, what does it mean? Here's my thing with sports. I love sports, but I just don't want it to be this thing where everything's political. I said at some point in time, people are going to get bored with it. Even if they support something. I don't watch sports for social justice. I watch sports because I enjoy it, and it's also part of escapism. And it's okay to use your platform, but there comes a point in time where you just step back and you say, I just don't want to do it anymore. And they've not done well. Then, people yesterday, let's be real, Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, the NFL's talking about postponing games. Could it? A bunch of teams didn't practice. The NHL postponed games. The thing that was going on yesterday is the thing that's been going on the entire time, which was the PGA Tour.
No, I talked to the commissioner, and they were on board. Obviously, he released his statement, and all the guys were on board. And so, no, there's talk about it because obviously what happened. But we're all on board, on the same page.
Yeah, which is we are our own business and not going to boycott this. And I think the other thing is, let's be real, golfers, more conservative. Find a lot more. The sport with the most Trump supporters, probably golf. So they were on board. There was a statement, but there was never any doubt about whether or not they were going to play. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text the program. Love hearing from each and every single one of you. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The Republican Party, the party of Abraham Lincoln, goes forward united, determined, and ready to welcome millions of Democrats, independents, and anyone who believes in the greatness of America and the righteous heart of the American people. My fellow Americans, tonight, with a heart full of gratitude and boundless optimism, I profoundly accept this nomination for President of the United States.
4 more years.
4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years.
And away it went. Good speech. He's not a great orator. He's great live at rallies. I don't think there's anybody who's ever been a president in our lifetime that's been as great live at rallies the way that he is on a consistent basis. But as far as speeches, never been his forte. I thought last night was good. I think he missed out. Some stuff I would love to have seen him address the issues when it comes to what's going on with race in our country. I would love that. But I've said that long before Trump got there. I think the Republicans have failed miserably. And their failure is they've just given up trying. The Democrats take it for granted, and the Republicans have given up trying. And that's not a winning proposition. I thought he delivered some really good stuff, talked about some of his legacy.
By the end of my first term, we will have approved more than 300 federal judges, including 2 great new Supreme Court justices.
I've said all along, his biggest legacy could potentially, if he got another term and he had another 1 or 2 judges, there's no doubt you could look back at all of the other stuff, and his legacy is going to be judicial. Still will probably be judicial. He's gotten some stuff done. He has. And a lot of the other stuff that he did last night was what you expect him to do. He went on attack.
Joe Biden recently raised his hand on the debate stage and promised to your giveaway he was going to give it away, your health care dollars to illegal immigrants, which is going to bring massive number of immigrants into our country. Massive numbers will pour into our country in order to get all of the goodies that they want to give, education, health care, everything. He also supports deadly sanctuary cities that protect criminal aliens.
Paints it, the world's coming to an end. That stuff I can I just get bored with that. That's what you have your attack dogs. And your attack dogs, he sicked them out there last night. He did. He absolutely did. Rudy Giuliani was he was the junkyard dog there.
New Yorkers wonder, how did we get overwhelmed by crime so quickly? Don't let Democrats do to America what they have done to New York. The Democrats are urging you to vote for an obviously defective candidate. Biden has changed his principles so often, he no longer has any principles. He's a Trojan horse with Bernie, AOC, Pelosi, Black Lives Matter, just waiting to execute their pro-criminal, anti-police, socialist policies.
That's what your attack dogs are for. He wasn't finished.
These continuous riots in Democratic cities gives you a good view of the future under Biden. All 5 of the top cities for homicides, top cities for rioting and looting, are governed by progressive Democrats, using the progressive Democrat approach to crime, which is to do nothing, to release prisoners, as many and as soon as possible, and to go to war with the police. It is clear that a vote for Biden and the Democrats creates the risk that you will bring this lawlessness to your city, to your town, to your suburb.
That's what your attack dogs are for. That is. That's how you paint it. You paint the picture. The other side's bad. Remember, last week it was, if you vote for Trump, he's going to be a dictator. It's going to be Nazi Germany. He's going to take everything away from you. This is it. And they all say the same thing, which I still to this day absolutely love hearing every president say this.
And yet, despite all of our greatness as a nation, everything we have achieved is now in danger. This is the most important election in the history of our country. At no time before have voters faced a clearer choice between 2 parties, 2 visions, 2 philosophies, or 2 agendas. This election will decide whether we save the American dream or whether we allow a socialist agenda to demolish our cherished destiny.
Destiny. You went a little bit of a walk in there. Destiny, friends. Crazy. Just don't even get it. It's nuts. Every politician says it's the most important. Have you ever heard one say, you know what, guys, got to be honest with you, it's not really a big deal. He's all right, I'm all right. You're going to be in capable hands. Nobody ever says that. Nobody ever says that. It's always the most important. And that's the salesman job that you get. They're selling you something. What are they selling you? Selling you this. It's the most important thing ever. Because when you're buying, right, very few people buy. Most people have to be sold. They may want something, but you're going to have to sell it. You're going to have to work. He's selling you something. He's creating a sense of urgency about the product. What's the product? 4 more years of Trump. Last week, they tried to create a sense of urgency with Joe Biden. They're still doing it. Still doing it.
Fidel Castro, Julius Caesar, Mobutu Sese Seko. That was not an American president giving an acceptance speech. That was a monarch. It was very much like what Castro used to do, an hour and 10 minutes that clocked in. He said, the fact is I'm here and they're not. He made the White House into the Trump palace. If democracy in America ever falls and we become a complete autocracy with a decrepit leader and his corrupt family moving their trunks into the White House and never leave.
She's awful. Joy Reid. That was like Castro. It was an hour and 10 minutes. Castro's speeches went on for several hours, 4+ hours. The great speech, was he give it to the UN or whatever? I mean, come on. That's, was it, Clinton gave a speech one time that went on, may still be going on. I don't know, man. It was just, I keep talking, the ladies keep going. You know how it goes. That's the fear that goes on because they're selling you something. Don't buy it, right? Don't buy it. Buy what you want, when you're ready, and you've kicked the tires and you feel that this is the purchase you want to make. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. One of the things he talked about last night is a vaccine by the end of the year. Dr. Gottlieb chimed in on, will there be a vaccine? Because he says it's coming. And guess what? While they're fact-checking him, Trump wasn't lying.
Will we have a vaccine produced by the end of the year?
Well, we have a vaccine produced right now. So the vaccine's being manufactured at risk even before these vaccines win FDA approval. The question is, will it be approved? I think that we're going to have the data on the vaccines probably sometime in October is the most likely scenario. And if they're effective in those trials, if they demonstrate that they're safe and effective, you could have a vaccine available, I believe, under an emergency use authorization for select populations before the end of the year.
Oh, so that was true. Now, select populations. Older people, people who are at high risk, first to get. The general use, though, which is the one that the 99% of us are going to, who are out there, we're working, living our lives, going to school, whatever it is, that, and I've been saying it's probably going to be middle of next year.
In terms of having a vaccine license for general use, as we think of getting a flu vaccine, for example, where most people can go get it and it's accessible, widely accessible, I think that's really a 2021 event. I think it's probably the first quarter of 2021, maybe the first half of 2021.
Maybe. We'll find out when that's going to be, but it's coming. It's going to happen. It will happen. I've always thought we have 106 to 110 different companies and the smartest human beings on planet Earth putting their minds to this. I never doubted we were going to get 1, 2, maybe 3 of them. How effective? Because when we think of vaccines, we think of like polio and things that you get where you're like, all right, I get a shot or two. And this is going to be very, I think, similar to the flu vaccine. And the flu vaccine effectiveness, really fluctuates. Some years it's in the mid to high 30s. Some years it's in the low to mid 50s. If we do 50%, I think we'll be all right. With community spread, people building up antibodies over time, it'll run its course. As it continues to mutate, it will weaken. So it's going to happen. And we have therapeutics now. We were talking before we came back on air. Remember how fast those numbers were going up? It's like every day they were going up and you're looking at them like, oh my God. And I said, I still don't, look, I thought we'd get to 60, maybe 70,000. It's more, but sure not 2 million. Sure not 1.5 million. I've always been like, we're never getting there. Now, if this thing lasts 25 years, yeah, that's a different story. We say the same thing about the flu. But when you look at this, have you noticed? They're not flying up like they were. Labor Day, I was like 4 weeks ago, somebody's like, we're probably going to be at 250,000 to 300,000 by Labor Day. It's got to like 150, 160, and it's not. We're treating it better. We're becoming more effective in the way that we're treating. We're getting to it earlier. And I think the people that potentially suffered the most and who were most susceptible to it, a lot of those people caught it early. And I think a lot more people have caught it that were asymptomatic and never knew that are walking around out there. So we'll see what takes place. Is there going to be a spike in the winter? It's a possibility. It is. But at this moment in time, most of the people I talk to are more frustrated with what's going on with the coronavirus now and a lot less fear. And some of them I talk to who are really like, oh my God, wear a mask, stay indoors, are really kind of pissed as well because they felt like the panic porn, as I call it, or the doom scrolling and stuff, was really oversold. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. MyPillow, sleep well at night. I just got a video from Jack. Jack's packing up all the stuff, and they're all going swimming today, all the kids and stuff, and it was just hilarious because they did it in real time. MyPillow, there's this MyPillow. It is incredible. Right now they got a BOGO going on. Buy one, get one free. You go to MyPillow.com, use the promo code Benson. You can pick anything you want, right? So you want a MyPillow, you're going to buy one of their world famous MyPillows, you get one free. If you want the mattress toppers, the Giza sheets, the towels, you name it, you buy one, get one free. 6-day money back guarantee, 10-year warranty, made in the USA, which is great to hear. On the way out, when you order those, guess what? I love this. This is awesome. You get, if you order Mike Lindell's book, everything shipped for free and a $25 gift card towards your next purchase. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Take advantage of the buy one, get one free. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Boys, give me a bowl of chili with plenty of peppers.
One Mexican heartburn. Why don't you mugs grow up?
The Chad Benson Show, where independent, a la carte thinkers have a seat at the table and a voice in the dialogue.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Chad Benson.
Don't tell anybody I told you this. Especially don't tell Joe Biden. I don't think
wouldn't remember
that there
anyways.
should be any debates. I do not think that the President of the United States has comported himself in a way that anybody should, and that has any association with truth, evidence, data, and facts. I wouldn't legitimize a conversation with him, nor a debate in terms of the presidency of the United States.
So you're not going to, Joe said today he's going to debate. He's going to be the fact checker. That's what he's going to be. She continued.
The Biden campaign thinks in a different way about this. But I thought what he did in the 2016 was disgraceful, stalking Hillary Clinton like that. I was disappointed that the press didn't say, go back to your station. You're not here. You don't own this stage. You have your own podium. She has hers. So I think that he'll probably act in a way that is beneath the dignity of the presidency. He does that every day. But I think he will also belittle what the debates are supposed to be about.
She's awful. Can we just agree? She's awful. Like, I don't have a problem. Like, her and Chuck Schumer, right? The Mitch McConnells, the blowhards. I like Kirsten Sinema here, Democrat. She's not awful. Martha McSally, she's very sweet. She's, she's not an awful, she's not great at what she's doing, but she's not awful. Right? California, you look around and you say to yourself, okay, who's, you start just some people, you just sit there and you're like, I see why. I understand why people on the left can't stand Mitch McConnell. I get it. And I understand why people on the right can't stand Nancy Pelosi. But shouldn't we be honest with ourselves and say some of these people are just the worst? Is it me? He's going to debate, though. Here's the way I think the debates will play themselves out. Right now, they're scheduled for 3. I think if Biden gets boat raced in the first one, meaning he gets thumped. I think he'll come back for a second run at it. Remember, Romney ran over Obama in the first one. Came back for a second one, flipped the script. If he gets crushed in the first one, I think he'll come back for a second one. If the second one he gets boat raced again, he gets thumped, don't expect the third. Don't expect the third. But we'll see. And even some of my, I was talking to one of my friends, also in radio, who is a very conservative but will not vote for Trump, told me if Biden doesn't debate, he'll vote for Trump. How can you not? And I think I think Nancy would probably say, don't. You're in the lead. You only can lose. You have nothing to gain. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I think she discounts the American voter for looking at that and saying you should have debated if he didn't. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
What I see, I was not prepared for. I knew it was going to be a disaster, but I didn't know what a disaster looked like till I saw it.
I can hear the emotion in what you're saying. I mean, what is the family feeling right now?
It's tough. This is a business that my parents started 40 years ago, small, out of their garage. It was a small business. Did it just to make a few extra dollars, and eventually it grew. 31 years ago, they bought this building, and so we've been here ever since.
Business owner in Kenosha. Business destroyed. You can hear it in his voice. Devastated.
It's emotionally hurtful. We didn't do anything to anybody. Why did we deserve it?
Doesn't matter. That's why. Doesn't matter. Another owner in Kenosha being attacked.
The owner of a mattress store in Kenosha that was burned to the ground. One of her employees had gone there to try to prevent anything from happening. Hey! No! Sir! Are you okay?
It's his building. He was trying to defend his building, and they beat the out of him.
Pamela Moniz is the owner.
And when I got there, he had already been assaulted, beaten, and was on the ground.
Yeah. Brutal attack. Awful. People are pissed. You want to make your community better? You want to see your community grow? You want to see crime come down? You want to see these things happen? You know what you do? You can hate Trump all you want. Law and order is about more than just keeping the peace. It's about a vibrant community where people can feel they can come in and invest their money into the community. I'll never forget this. So, when I worked the riots, my mother's company, they needed all hands on deck. So she has a big glazing company, which is glass, and major accounts all over the place. 7-Elevens, Food for Less, Albertsons, big supermarket chains, you name it, they've got it. The owner and CEO of the Food for Less Corporation, and they own a bunch of different supermarkets. They had a supermarket that was open in the inner city that the city leaders came to and said, you need to do this. You need to put this here. What can we do to persuade you to put this here? What can we do? Finally, he gave in and he put it there. And it cost him extra. He's like, I have to have security 24/7. There was just so many things he had to do. They finally got it built. It was there less than a week when the riots happened, and it was destroyed. And he tells my mom and me, he's like, never rebuilding again. Won't do it. Sorry. You guys had a chance. And this is what happened. You want to see an inner city grow. We never hear about the silent 95% of people that live in the minority community who feel trapped in more than just whether it's for whatever reason, call it racism, call it whatever people want to call it, but also they're trapped by circumstances. They're there and they can't go anywhere, and their community's not growing, and their opportunities are less because why? Nobody's going to come in and do what? Throw money at something, build into a community if they feel that it's going to be a losing proposition. Things that we need to talk about in this country. Race is one of those things we need to talk about, but we don't. We avoid it at all cost because we weaponize it. So you can't have a conversation if... And thing is, people aren't interested in conversations. They're interested in punishment, retribution. They're not interested in solutions, especially the powers that be, because there's just too much power and money at stake to allow progress to happen. And that frustrates a lot of people out there, myself included. Last night, I would have liked to have seen Trump take it on a little bit more, at all. Rather than, you want law and order, this is what, the presidency under Biden's going to look like. It's going to look like all these things. Well, those are cities. Cities have allowed that to happen. I would like to have seen you take it on in a much better way. And he didn't. Just like I would love to have seen Biden and the Democrats take on the chaos in places like Portland and Seattle and all of these other places that they refuse to talk about, which is the blind spot that Don Lemon talked about yesterday. So many people are too busy complaining, because it's so much easier to tear down. That's what, to me, was missing. Too much of the world's going to come to an end if the other side gets in power. And we never address issues. Because that's what we're great at. We're great at never addressing the issue. Tell people what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. I enjoyed Dana White's speech. Dana White, if you don't know, president of the UFC. I enjoyed his speech. He's interesting, does his own thing. He and Trump are friends. They kind of are. They're cutting the same cloth in just the way they approach life.
We still have a long way to go. And that is why we need a leader with President Trump's unique attributes at this critical time. He is one of the most loyal human beings I have ever met. The man has unstoppable energy. No one, and I mean no one, is going to outwork this guy. President Trump's mindset is to work tirelessly, to find solutions to problems and help restore America. He did it once, and I'm telling you right now, he will do it again. Trump may be the only president in modern times who has actually done everything he said he would do during his campaign.
He's done a lot. He's absolutely done a lot. Speaking of doing stuff, Trump's pulling out another 3,500 soldiers, bringing them back. I like it. I wish he was harder on China. A lot of stuff I'd like to see him do. And I'd like to see the legislative branch get on board with some of this stuff that we can all agree on. We want less war. We want more money here at home. We want to bring back jobs, but we're going to have to bring back different kinds of jobs. We need to start training for the future, not the past. Little things that we should be doing that we can all agree on. And when it comes to race and when it comes to having conversations like that, we need to have conversations without the fear of the insanity of let's cancel everything. Trump actually addressed cancel culture last night.
Many things have a different name now, and the rules are constantly changing. The goal of cancel culture is to make decent Americans live in fear of being fired, expelled, shamed, humiliated, and driven from society as we know it. The far left wants to coerce you into saying what you know to be false and scare you out of saying what you know to be true. Very sad.
There is a certain sense. We just talked about it. Do you want to hear the truth? Do you want to be told what you want to hear or what you need to hear? And there's ways of telling people what they need to hear without being abrasive and awful. Now, every once in a while it gets to that point where you just got to, drop, as they would say, the truth bomb on them. Because you've subtly tried to point it out. You've approached it at several different angles, and sometimes you just go, I better take out the sledgehammer on this one. We don't do that, though. And part of that's cancel culture. People are afraid. People are afraid to not even say what they think, have an opinion. Like, we're talking about opinions on the dumbest things. And one of the big reasons I've always thought that Trump had a huge run-up in the last election and the popularity is he was the exact opposite of all this. He wasn't politically correct. People have become overly sensitive. And yet in the last 3 years, we've become even more sensitive. You make a joke, you're fired, and you're deemed a racist. There was a Missouri professor last week was holding in-class sessions or online, and one of the students said, I'm from Wuhan, and he goes, hold on, I'll get my mask, and they're like, well, he's got to go. He's obviously a racist. And I'm like, that's what we've gotten to. And that's why we can't have a conversation. Because people want to be, it's like with all the stuff that's going on with that Black Lives and all the sports, I sit there and I think to myself, so much of it is empty social justice. Does this look good on Instagram? Does this sound good? Do I fit the bill? Heaven forbid that you what if you stood up? What if you're a player and you say, you know what? I don't want to. I was asked yesterday, Chad, you play soccer? I have tons of friends who played in the MLS for years, and kids that friends' kids who are now playing in the MLS. I mean, it's nuts. And, they're out there. They canceled 5 games the other night, and they all were out there, and they're wearing Black Lives Matter shirt. And he said, would you wear one? I said, no. I wouldn't. Not that I don't believe in the cause and that we shouldn't be having conversations and we need to figure out how we further things. I don't believe in the leaders of that because I think it's become a political game that they play. And the things that they stand for at the top, I completely disagree with when it comes to the destroying of capitalism and all of these kinds of things, the Marxist ideas. I want no part of that. If you do, fantastic. Fantastic. But if you want to have real discussions, real honesty, talk about how we move from point A to point B, that we don't make it personal, behind you 100%, right next to you, let's do it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Hello Fresh. Little pasta last night. It was delicious. You can do the same thing. HelloFresh, contact free, delivered straight to your door. What I love about this is you get to choose low calorie, vegetarian, family friendly. Family friendly's got all the favorites, the burgers, all that stuff. We have pasta. Jack's here right now. And plus I eat like a 4-year-old sometimes. So, and if I can eat it, anybody can. And the food's delicious and I can make it. Anybody can. It's that easy. It takes about 20 minutes from the time you choose what you want to do. So recipes are simple. They're right in front of you. It's plug and play. You assemble it, you cook it, and within about 20 minutes, you're eating it. 17 minutes last night. That's how quick it was. We were scarfing it down. It was simple and easy. Delivered straight to your door, contact free. If you were to shop in the store and buy the same thing, you're going to save 40%, and you don't have to worry about meal prepping. The recipes are right there. It is truly that simple. You can add extra days. You can change weeks. Maybe you're going on vacation. Whatever it is you need to do, you can do it. They're flexible at HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com. Use promo code Benson. When you do that, you save $80 off your first box and free shipping. Promo code Benson, HelloFresh.com. $80 off your first box and free shipping. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Excellent to each other. Party on, dude. Look, there's a lot going on in the world right now, so 77 minutes of Bill and Ted might be just what the doctor ordered. Star Keanu Reeves tells me.
Bill and Ted Face the Music is really about, family and community and that we're all in this together.
Reeves and Alex Winter are back as the tubular time-traveling duo, almost 30 years since the last film.
We're hoping to bring some joy to people.
Bill and Ted Face the Music is out today in theaters and streaming.
Let's laugh, let's love, let's, be excellent and party on. Man.
Be excellent, bro. I'll see it. We're going to watch it tonight. A little family movie night. We'll watch Bill and Ted. The kids have been watching that. Tomorrow we're going to go see The New Mutants. My movie theater is finally open. I'm kind of pumped about it. It's been a long time since I've seen a movie. And the thought process of sitting down with popcorn, yes, there's going to be a mask and the whole 9 yards, but just sitting there in a movie theater, lights come down, the trailers come up, eating your popcorn, don't have to worry about your phone, don't have to worry about he said, she said, don't have to worry about any of that stuff, and just get lost in something mindless, silly. Sign me up. Sign me up all day. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I thought last night, and I thought people are texting me, said, Chad, what do you think about, the Hatch Act, that they were using the White House and any of these government places to do political rallies and stuff. And under any other circumstance, and I'll say this, I wouldn't care if it was Biden or if it was Obama in this circumstance. If this was a normal thing, if it was normal, meaning we didn't have this, the Corona Bros, as Clay Travis puts it, weren't bitching and moaning about don't have rallies, don't do this, don't go there, stay in, everybody. If this was normal, I'd be like, you know what? You shouldn't have done it. You've got an issue that we need to look into. This isn't normal. I think we realize that. Right? If he holds a rally somewhere else, people lose their mind. Could it have been smaller? Could he have gone into a gym, a basement? We're making way too much out of it. Remember what we talked about earlier this week? We so major in the minor, and we minor in the major. We focus on things that we don't need to focus on, and we put way too much into it. And the things that need to be addressed, the things that need to be talked about, the things that we should be addressing, we skim over those. This is one of those. It's not a normal circumstance. So on this, I'll give him a pass. And let's talk about the fireworks show for just a second. It's unreal. It was pretty awesome, right? Look, and I'm not a firework guy. We did some 4th of July this year with the kids, and it was great having everybody around, and we did it, and it was neat, and that's about the fireworks. I don't want to go anywhere and watch fireworks. I was never a fireworks guy, never my thing. That was pretty awesome last night. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us and text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I am off. Are you ready for this? Before we start the big push till Election Day, and then finding out when we finally, and who is finally the president, who knows, weeks potentially after that. I'm going to be off until the day after Labor Day. Stay cool. Be kind. Don't fight. Smile a little bit more. Worry a little bit less. that simple. Craig Collins in next week. Appreciate that. Thanks so much, Craig. You have a blessed, wonderful weekend and next week, and I'll see you after Labor Day. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.